Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how I like to attach my solid wood tabletops to my bases. Yes, this is a very boring topic, but it's important because if you just simply nail, screw, or glue your tabletops to your bases over time with wood expansion and contraction, you will end up getting cracking. So having a good method to attach your tabletops to your bases that's fast but effective is really, really helpful. And today we're going to be talking about that. If you're not already doing so, make sure to follow and hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube so you can get notified when we make content like this in the future. So there's quite a few good ways to attach solid wood tops to bases. My personal favorite is what's called a tabletop clip. My favorite brand is made by Rock Hardware, who actually sent me these clips specifically to make this video to teach you guys how to do it. They didn't pay me for this content, but they did give me some clips for free, so there's some full disclosure. Tabletop clips are really, really easy and repeatable and can be used in most furniture applications to attach a solid wood base, or solid wood tabletop rather, to a base. So I like them a lot because they're fast, repeatable, and really, really easy. On top of that, they're very, very reasonably priced. There's a couple people who make them, but the cheapest I've found online is Rock Hardware, so definitely check them out if you find this useful and want to try it out in your shop. Let's get started. For small tables like this, I like to flip the table and the tabletop upside down and work facing down into the bottom of the table. For larger pieces like a dining table, I like to work up underneath the table, mainly because once I attach the tabletop to the base, it becomes very heavy and tricky to flip back over by myself. So if you've got a helper in your shop, you can do everything upside down. But for me, in my shop, small stuff like this bench, I'm going to flip upside down. But larger stuff like desks and dining tables, I'm going to work up underneath the table. So in this case, like I said though, we're going to start by flipping it upside down. What I like to use are bench cookies, and this is a good way to keep my tabletop from getting scratched because at this point I've already finished my tabletop. And it also gives me a little bit of clearance so that I can get clamps on here, and you'll see when we use that here in just a minute. So again, I'm going to put my tabletop face down so the bottom of the table is facing up. And then I'm going to flip my base over underneath it, or on top of it rather. Next up, I'm going to center my base relative to my table, and I'm going to clamp it in place using some quick speed clamps to clamp my apron to my tabletop. Alright, on small tables like this bench, it's okay to put slots both in the short apron and in the long apron. When you start building tables that are a little bit larger, like dining tables or desks, where your wood panel's now 14, 16, 18 inches wide and wider, your wood movement starts to get pretty substantial. And you want to make sure you only put clips on your aprons that run perpendicular to your grain. So in this case, my grain runs this way. On a large table, I would only want to put clips on the apron that runs perpendicular to that. And the reason for that is because I want to have maximum travel distance in my slots to allow that clip to move. And I'll show you guys how we place our slots and how we attach our clips in our slots here in just a minute. But I want to make sure you guys understand the orientation of where you put your clips is very important to successfully using this application. As far as how you add your slots to your aprons, there's a couple different methods that I like to use. My favorite method is a biscuit joiner. That's how I did these here. Biscuit joiner cuts nice clean slots and is very repeatable. It's actually the only thing I use my biscuit joiner for these days, so I keep the height set exactly at the right location for tabletop clips, and I pull it out whenever I need to add slots for tabletop clips. A couple other options are you can use a palm router or a hand router with a slot cutting bit with the bearing on it. That's a great option as well. If you have the foresight, unlike what I usually do, to plan ahead, you can actually cut your slots on your table saw before you assemble your bases. You can also do the same thing on a router table with a straight cutting bit. So you can run your slot all the way from end to end. You don't have to start and stop your slots like I did with the biscuit joiner. All of those methods will get you the same exact results. So do whatever makes sense for your tools and in your shop. As far as how many slots should you be adding to your base, or rather how many tabletop clips is needed, it's kind of up to your judgment, but for a bench like this, 6 clips is what I use, and that's usually a good number. For For something like a desk, I usually try to use 8 or 10, and for a dining table with the large top, I may use as many as 20. It just depends on how big it is, how heavy your base is, because you don't want somebody to pick up on the tabletop and have those clips fail. Now these clips are extremely strong, so that's not likely, but in my case, I like to err on the side of overkill because the clips are very inexpensive and adding a few extra is good insurance to make sure I have a happy client or a happy wife in most cases. Alright, so you've gone ahead and either added your slots now or you've added them before you put your piece together at the table saw or router table. Next, I've centered my base on my tabletop and I've clamped it in place. Now it's time to go ahead and install our clips, and that is as simple as laying out our tabletop clips, pilot drilling, and driving home some screws. Let me show you. Alright, so the way that these tabletop clips work is essentially they form a Z, and you're going to take that and put the part of the bracket that doesn't have the hole into your slot so that the hole sits on your actual tabletop. That hole is where we're going to be attaching these clips using a screw. So basically, if you can see this, these clips are going to ride in this slot, so as your table expands and contracts, it's able to ride in that slot and provide for expansion and contraction while still keeping compression against the apron. Let's talk about your slots. It's important not how wide your slot is or how deep your slot is, as long as it's deep enough to accept the full end of your Z-clip. But it is very, very important that it's in the correct position as far as how high or low it is on the apron. If it's too low, you won't have any tension between the clip and the tabletop, and it will be very loose and your tabletop will feel like it's floating. If it's too tall, your clip won't sit square and you won't get a good connection, again, between the apron and the tabletop. So what I like to do is add just a little bit of extra depth to it. So I set it based on the height of the Z-clip, and then I make it a little bit taller, and that gives you enough tension to really bite into your apron when you're tightening down those screws. I'll zoom in here and give you guys a quick demo of what I like as far as offset goes. Alright, so now that I've got my slots placed and my clips put in, I'm going to go ahead and drill some pilot holes and drive our screws in. And that's pretty much it. Alright, and just like that, we've attached our tabletop to our base. Simple enough. We can flip our base over. Now, got a beautiful table ready to be used. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe down below. And make sure to check out Rock Hardware. Big thank you to them for sending us the hardware we used in this video. These guys are supporters of the maker community, and they have a great product line on their website, so make sure to go over and check them out. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.